As if your inability to get to bed before midnight didn't already haunt you, new research suggests your sleep problems are seriously upping your risk of type 2 diabetes. Numerous studies have linked problems like sleep apnea, insomnia, and even working the night shift with a higher diabetes risk, but new research suggests even just regularly having trouble falling or staying asleep, something we're willing to bet most of us would consider totally normal, can increase your risk of developing diabetes by 45%. Try these 11 ways to get a better night's sleep. After taking into account other concerns that could increase diabetes risk, like hypertension and body mass index, women who reported this type of sleep difficulty had about a 22% increased risk of developing diabetes, explains Frank B. Tu, MD, PhD, a professor of nutrition and epidemiology at Harvard's T.H. Chan School of Public Health and co-author of the study. It's the largest study so far about sleep difficulty and type 2 diabetes, thanks to data from both the Nurses' Health Study and the Nurses' Health Study 2, two of the longest-running studies of women's health. Tu and his colleagues were able to analyze answers from more than 133,000 women about their sleep between 2000 and 2011. Sleep difficulty itself may have biological effects, like increased stress hormone, which has been associated with increased insulin resistance, he says. Or sleep difficulty may be related to stress, which may contribute to increased risk of diabetes. Balance your hormones and lose up to 15 pounds in just 3 weeks. Here's how. It gets worse before it gets better. Women with that sleep difficulty as well as 3 other sleep problems, frequent snoring, sleep apnea or working the night shift, getting 6 or fewer hours of sleep a night, were more than 400% more likely to develop diabetes. Women with any one of those problems had a 47% increased diabetes risk, compared with women with no sleep problems whatsoever. Bottom line, both sleep quality and quantity are important for the prevention of diabetes, who says. There is some good news, at least. For starters, you don't have to panic about the occasional exhaustingly short night of sleep. A couple of nights of not getting enough sleep isn't going to do much, says Robert S. Rosenberg, DO, medical director of the Sleep Disorders Center of Prescott Valley, Arizona. It's chronically sleeping less than 6 hours a night that'll get you in the most trouble. Also, according to another recent study, in the case of diabetes risk, it is possible to catch up on sleep if you're only skimping now and then. The small lab study restricted the sleep of 19 healthy men to just 4.5 hours for 4 nights in a row. Their insulin sensitivity, a measure of how well insulin regulates sugar in the blood, decreased and their diabetes risk increased. However, after just 2 nights of extra sleep, they logged more than 9.5 hours in dreamland on average on these recovery nights. Both measures returned to normal. The authors caution that this was done in a lab setting, and more research will need to be done to see how recovery sleep affects diabetes risk in real-world scenarios, aka Saturdays and Sundays, but it's a promising sign for those of us troubled by tossing and turning. To try to at least limit that tossing and turning, don't forget the essential rules of good sleep hygiene, Rosenberg says. Get the electronics out of the bedroom 60 to 90 minutes before bed and go through a more relaxing routine, whether that's meditation, listening to music, reading. It should get you into a state where you are ready to go to sleep, he says. Stick to a regular sleep schedule as much as possible, too. Yes, even on the weekends. If you already follow all the rules and you're still inexplicably groggy when the alarm goes off, bring it up with your doc. I think there is now sufficient evidence to indicate sleep needs to be considered as carefully as other lifestyle factors, who says. Doctors should ask whether patients have any sleep problems, whether they sleep too much or not enough, whether they snore with regularity or have difficulty falling asleep or maintaining sleep. Those are relatively simple questions doctors can ask that can be very helpful in terms of advising patients about potential preventive strategies for reducing risk of obesity and diabetes.